Well, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on QC at 3. I'm Caroline Hicks here with Barbara McKay, the WBTV legend.
They let me come back again, and
They
I will
sure
tell
did.
you, like I told Cheryl last week, I'm just going to watch you work. It's been a couple of decades since I've been doing this, unless you count last week. But I learned a lot last week, but not quite enough. So I'm going to watch you work.
Oh, my gosh.
And I love being here. Many, many thanks to all the wonderful people that I heard from and all of my prayer warriors out there. It's time again. Go.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you back. And we've been talking, before the show just about kind of how you got into this industry. It's a little bit of a crazy story, so I think you were going to share a little bit with us.
Very different from everybody else here. I've been talking to the people who are here now.
Right.
Mine was a lot different. I was home rocking my baby, my miracle baby. My mother came in and she said, "You look terrible. You've got to do something with yourself." And she picked up the phone book, the Mecklenburg phone book, and turned to WBTV. She dialed the number, handed me the phone, and she said, "Ask for an interview." And I did. I did what my mother told me to do. And I came over and I had the interview, and I then heard back that the producer would talk with me. And then later, the producer told me that when she heard that I'd had this interview, she said, "Well, tell me, how many markets has she been in? How many shows has she hosted? How long has she been in television?" And Anna Ruffey, the interviewer, said, "She danced on the Mr. Bill show when she was 6." And that was it.
That qualifies her, right?
And so they did the audition, and it was truly horrible. I mean, really, really horrible. I did not tell a single soul. I did not watch television for 6 weeks.
Aw.
Because I was so bad. But I got a letter later, and they said, "You were bad, but somewhere in there might be some potential."
They saw something in you.
45 years have passed, and here I still sit.
I love that.
I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful that they took a chance on me. And I'm very thankful that those of you who have watched all those years, and those of you, again, the children like you were, you're still there, even though your mothers made you watch.
Hey, mothers know best, right? That's the lesson learned.
Yes, that is the lesson learned. Thank you, Caroline, for letting me share that story.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually going to lead into our social question today.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what the social question is.
Okay, the social question is, what was your dream career as a child compared to what you're doing now?
Yes, we want to hear from you guys. I think actually we're getting some of your responses right now. Elaine says, "I wanted to be an airline flight attendant with Pan American Airlines and TWA. Both are no longer in existence."
I relate to that, Elaine. I worked for Eastern for a short time, and they no longer in existence.
And then Emily Thompson said, "I wanted to be a teacher, and I've been one for 20 years. You also did that.
I did. Yes, I did a lot of things and then landed here.
Yes,
things that women were told they could do. They could be a nurse or a teacher or a flight attendant. I could not stand the sight of blood, so that ruled out nurse. So I did the others and then landed here.
And Connie said, "As a child, I wanted to be a police officer.
Oh, wow.
I ended up being a town manager, but now I'm retired and living the dream." Good for you, Connie.
I love these responses.
I know, it's so fun. So throughout the show, keep giving us your responses. And you mentioned you were a teacher. Just what a small world. You were a teacher at Charlotte Latin, which is where I went to school growing up.
Yeah.
So very small world.
Yes, I know. I'm glad that you were a student there. And remember, if we run into each other out and about, we meet other people, you just say, "We were in 3rd grade together."
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. All right. Well, another interesting story that I was reading about are these restaurant service fees. I don't know if you've seen any of those pop up on a bill, but they're quite the talker right now. So I guess this kind of stemmed from the pandemic. Some of these restaurants started tacking these service fees to the bottom of your bill. And it was kind of as a way to provide more pay stability to staff amidst that uncertainty during the pandemic. But people are still noticing them, and people are kind of wondering, all right, where is the money going? Yeah. And should I tip on top of that? Yeah. And in fact, right now in Washington, D.C., the Attorney General is actually demanding more transparency from these restaurants. So they're actually going to have to put out clear and prominent disclosures at the beginning of the ordering process.
I'd like to know before I arrive at the door.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the big thing is, hey, people know that restaurants have been through a hard time throughout the pandemic, and I'm sure, people, that's why you tip well, that's why, you help these people out. But I think it's just the transparency, right? People want to know.
You want to know. And it's a no-win situation. They have to do it because of inflation. They've got to buy food. And then we might not can go because of the extra cost. So that hurts them too.
Right.
It's a really, really tough place to be.
It is. And I think it is just one of those things where people just want to know what they're walking into, what they're getting into. And so if restaurants can just be transparent, it'll be interesting to see, you know, as time goes on, how often we're noticing that in Charlotte. I think I've seen it a few times, but I think it just varies state by state.
It is. And it's, again, it's so difficult. We have to have compassion for all, including the restaurants, for the patrons who might not be able to go.
Of course.
And, yeah. So it's strange times, different times.
Absolutely. And that's going to bring us to our big question today, which is, do you think restaurants should be able to charge a service fee?